What if the key to ending all your suffering, anxiety, and unhappiness was already inside you, and you could access it right now? On the edge of ending his life, Eckhart Tolle woke up one night with the thought, "I cannot live with myself any longer." And in that single moment, his entire false self collapsed. What remained was pure peace, presence, and a joy that never left him. In the power of now, he reveals the one truth that changes everything. You are not your mind. Your thoughts are not who you are. The endless mental noise, the regrets about yesterday, the worries about tomorrow, that's what's stealing your life. The moment you step out of your mind and into the now, suffering ends. Enlightenment isn't some distant goal for monks or gurus. It's your natural state, available to you this second. This is your direct path to that freedom. If you're ready to finally quiet the noise in your head and live in unbreakable peace, keep listening. The power of now begins right here. Chapter 1: You are not your mind. The greatest obstacle to enlightenment is this: you believe you are your mind. Eckhart Tolle begins with a simple parable. A beggar has sat beside the road for 30 years, asking for change. One day, a stranger asks what is inside the old box he is sitting on. The beggar replies, "Nothing." When he finally opens it, the box is filled with gold. That stranger is speaking to you. The gold is already inside you. You have simply been sitting on it without looking. Enlightenment is not some distant, superhuman achievement. It is your natural state of felt oneness with life itself, the end of suffering. The Buddha defined it that way, and Tolle agrees. What stands in the way is identification with the mind. Most of us live with a continuous mental voice that comments, judges, worries, and replays the past or imagines the future. We have mistaken that voice for who we are. Descartes said, "I think, therefore I am." Tolle calls this the fundamental error. Thinking is not your identity. It is only a tool. When you identify with the mind, you create a false self, the ego, that lives in constant fear and conflict. This mental noise blocks true relationship with yourself, with others, with nature, and with life. It creates the illusion of separation. The way out is simple. Start watching the thinker. Listen to the voice in your head as though you were listening to someone else speaking. Do not judge or argue with it. Just observe. The moment you do, a new dimension of consciousness appears, the silent presence that is aware of the thought. You are no longer the thinker, you are the witness. In that witnessing, gaps of stillness open up between thoughts. At first they are short, but they grow. In those gaps, you feel a deep peace and aliveness. This is the beginning of your natural state. Emotions work the same way. Every emotion is the body's reflection of your mind. Anger, fear, anxiety, these are not you. They are energy created by thought. When you stop feeding them with more thinking, they lose their grip. You do not need to fight the mind. You simply stop believing you are the mind. The instrument is useful when needed, but it is not who you are. This single shift, disidentifying from thought, is the foundation of everything that follows. Once you see that you are the awareness behind the mind, peace is no longer something you chase. It is what remains when the noise stops. Chapter 2: Consciousness, the way out of pain. Nobody's life is entirely free of pain and sorrow. The real question is how to stop creating more of it right now. Eckhart Tolle explains that almost all emotional suffering is self-created. It comes from one simple habit: resistance to what is. When you argue with the present moment, when you say this should not be happening, you generate pain. The mind turns the now into an enemy, and that inner resistance is the birthplace of all unnecessary suffering. The most powerful concept in this chapter is the pain body. It is the accumulated emotional pain from your past that lives inside you like a semi-autonomous energy field. It has two states, dormant and active. In some deeply unhappy people, it is active almost all the time. In others, it wakes up only in certain situations, such as arguments or stressful moments. The pain body wants to survive, just like any other living thing. It feeds on negativity, your own and other people's. When it takes over, it makes you think, speak, and act in ways that create even more pain. It will trigger drama, anger, or sadness, so it can replenish itself. You suddenly find yourself in conflict for no reason, and later you wonder, what came over me? The good news is that you can dissolve the pain body instead of being controlled by it. The method is surprisingly simple and incredibly effective. Catch the first sign of unhappiness, irritation, impatience, a heavy mood, or sudden anger. Instead of reacting or thinking about the situation, shift your attention inward. Feel the emotion as a physical sensation in your body. Accept that it is there. Do not judge it or turn it into a story. Simply be the aware presence that watches the energy. The moment you bring conscious attention to the pain body, it begins to transmute. What was trapped, emotional energy turns back into presence. Tolle says, the pain body doesn't want you to observe it directly, because the moment you do, its survival is threatened. He also reveals why some people find this difficult. They have become identified with their pain body. It has become part of their sense of self. Letting it go feels like losing who they are. That unconscious attachment is why so many people keep recreating the same painful situations year after year. This chapter also shows the origin of fear. Fear is not something that happens to you. It is the pain body reacting to the possibility of more pain. And the ego's constant search for wholeness through possessions, achievements, or relationships is simply the mind trying to escape the feeling of lack created by that same pain body. The moment you stop feeding the pain body with resistance and unconscious thinking, you stop creating new pain in the present. Old pain dissolves naturally in the light of your conscious presence. Consciousness itself becomes the way out of pain. This shift is not gradual for everyone. Many people experience a sudden, profound release once they truly understand and practice what Tolle teaches here. The door to peace is already open. All that remains is to walk through it by staying present with whatever arises. Chapter 3. Moving deeply into the now. The mind cannot solve the problems it creates. Once you see the basic dysfunction, identification with thought, you no longer need to study every twist of the ego. You simply step out of it and become present. The real key is this: end the delusion of time. Time and mind are inseparable. The past is nothing but a memory trace reactivated now. The future is an imagined now projected by the mind. Remove psychological time from your thinking and the compulsive mental noise stops. Only the eternal now remains, and it is the only thing that truly exists. Nothing ever happened in the past. Nothing will ever happen in the future. Every experience, every event, every moment of your life has always unfolded in the now and always will. The now is the only point of access to the timeless realm of being. It is your doorway to peace, to presence, to life itself. Spiritual masters across every tradition have pointed to this truth. Zen asks, what at this moment is lacking? Sufis declare, the Sufi is the son of time present. Meister Eckhart said, time is what keeps the light from reaching us. In life-threatening emergencies, people naturally drop out of time and become intensely present, alert, still, and powerful. You do not need a crisis. You can enter that state right now. When you live in the now, negativity loses its grip. All unease, anxiety, stress, guilt, and resentment are caused by too much future or too much past and too little presence. Problems themselves are illusions of the mind. They need time to survive. Bring your full attention to this moment and ask, do I have a problem right now? You will discover there is only a situation to be dealt with or accepted. The mind-made problem dissolves instantly. Your life situation, past regrets, future worries, endless mental stories is mind stuff. Your actual life is now. Narrow your attention to this moment. Look around. Feel the light, the sounds, the space, the air moving in and out of your body. Allow the isness of everything. This simple shift reveals the vibrant life underneath all your problems. When compulsive striving away from the now ends, the joy of being flows into whatever you do. You no longer need the future to complete you. Success or failure no longer defines you. You act with ease, presence, and love. Life becomes light, playful, and deeply fulfilling. This is not a small change. It is a quantum leap in the evolution of human consciousness, the ending of thousands of years of mind-dominated suffering, and it begins the instant you choose the now over time. You have just stepped through the door. The power of the present moment is now yours. Chapter 4. Mind Strategies for Avoiding the Now. The mind's favorite game is simple. Anything but this moment. It will invent problems, chase future goals, replay old stories, or create drama, anything to avoid the raw aliveness of the now. This avoidance is the core delusion Tolle calls loss of now, and it is the hidden engine behind almost all human unhappiness. He divides unconsciousness into two levels. Ordinary unconsciousness is the everyday mental chatter most people live in. Daydreaming at work, scrolling while half listening to someone, worrying about dinner while driving. Deep unconsciousness is total absorption, sleep, drunkenness, or complete identification with emotions during an argument. Both states pull you out of the present and keep the pain body alive. What are people really seeking when they chase success, relationships, money, or even spiritual experiences? They are not chasing those things themselves. They are trying to escape the discomfort of the present moment. The mind promises, one day when I get there, I will be at peace. That day never arrives because the mind always creates a new there the moment you reach the old one. The way to dissolve ordinary unconsciousness is shockingly direct. Catch yourself the instant you notice you are not fully here. Feel the urge to escape, then gently bring your attention back to this moment. Your breath, the sounds around you, the sensations in your body. No force, just awareness. Each time you do this, you weaken the mind's grip. True freedom from unhappiness comes the moment you stop demanding that the present moment be different from what it is. Even if the situation is painful, total acceptance of what is removes the inner resistance that turns pain into suffering. Tolle says unhappiness is never caused by the situation itself, only by your resistance to it. One of the most powerful practices he gives is this: wherever you are, be there totally. Waiting in traffic, be there totally. Stuck in a boring meeting, be there totally. The quality of your life is determined not by what you do, but by how present you are while doing it. When you give the now your full attention, even the most ordinary activity becomes fulfilling, and the situation often changes by itself. Your life has two purposes. The outer purpose is whatever you are doing, work, relationships, goals. The inner purpose is to awaken to presence. When the inner purpose is aligned, the outer purpose flows with far less effort and far more joy. Finally, Tolle reveals something beautiful. The psychological past cannot survive in your presence. Regrets, grievances, and old identities dissolve the moment you stop feeding them with thought. The now acts like a light that simply burns away everything that is not real. The mind is not your enemy. It is simply a survival mechanism that has taken over. The moment you stop using the present as a means to an end and start living in it, all the mind's clever strategies collapse. Peace is no longer something you wait for. It is what remains when you stop running away from now. Chapter 5. The State of Presence. The state of presence is not a thought, not a feeling, and not something you achieve in the future. It is the timeless awareness that you already are, the pure I am that exists before any label or story. Most people try to understand presence with the mind, but the mind cannot grasp it. Presence is what remains when thinking stops. It is the silent, alert space in which everything happens. The moment you recognize this, you realize you have never been anything else. Tolle shares a powerful secret hidden in the ordinary act of waiting. When you wait for a bus, a friend, or an appointment, the mind usually fills the gap with impatience or daydreaming. Instead, use that moment consciously. Drop all inner commentary and simply wait in the now. Feel the aliveness in your body, hear the sounds around you, sense the space. Suddenly, waiting becomes a portal into deep peace. The wise ones have always known this. True waiting is not waiting for something. It is resting in presence. In that stillness, beauty reveals itself automatically. A tree, a flower, a face, even an old piece of furniture begins to radiate when you look at it without the mind's labels. You are no longer seeing through the screen of thought. You are seeing with presence, and life itself shines through. This is the realization of pure consciousness. You become aware of the formless dimension within you that has no beginning and no end. It is indestructible, peaceful, and deeply alive. Jesus spoke from this state when he said, "Before Abraham was, I am." The word Christ points to this divine presence that is the essence of every human being, not to a person 2,000 years ago. When presence becomes your natural way of being, life changes without effort. Problems lose their heaviness. Relationships deepen because you meet others from essence rather than ego. Joy arises not from anything external, but from the simple fact of being fully here. You still act, think, and create, but you do so from a deeper place that is already whole. Presence is the end of the search. It is home, and it is available in this exact moment, no matter where you are or what is happening. Chapter 6. The Inner Body. Your deepest self is not the mind, not your emotions, and not even the physical form you see in the mirror. It is the formless, alive energy field that animates the body, the inner body. This is the invisible and indestructible essence of who you are, your direct link to pure being. Most people live only in their head, completely unaware of this inner dimension. Tolle shows that the body is far more than flesh and bones. It is a doorway. To enter it, shift your attention from thinking to feeling. Close your eyes for a moment and bring awareness inside. Feel the subtle life energy in your hands, then your feet, your abdomen, your chest. You may notice a gentle tingling, warmth, or aliveness. That is the inner body. Stay with the sensation. Do not think about it. Just feel it. Once you learn to connect with this energy field, remarkable changes begin. The inner body slows the aging process of the physical body because it keeps you rooted in the timeless now instead of the stress of psychological time. It strengthens your immune system by raising the vibrational frequency of your entire energy field. Many people report that chronic tension and even illness begin to dissolve as they make the inner body their habitual home. Tolle offers a direct practice he calls the Sermon on the Body. Sense the aliveness in every part of you, from the soles of your feet to the crown of your head. Imagine every cell becoming conscious and radiating the silent affirmation, I am. This simple act turns the body into a living portal of presence. Before you can fully enter the inner body, one thing is essential: forgive. Release any resentment, judgment, or resistance you carry toward the present moment or another person. Negativity contracts the energy field and blocks access. Forgiveness opens the door instantly. The inner body is also your connection to the unmanifested, the formless source from which all life arises. When you rest in it, you become like a tree with deep invisible roots. External events can still happen, but they no longer shake your foundation. You think and act from stillness rather than reaction. Creative ideas flow more freely, and true listening becomes natural because you are no longer trapped in your own mental noise. This is not an abstract idea. It is a tangible shift you can feel right now. The moment you move attention from the head to the inner body, you step out of the ego's domain and into the living presence that has always been there, waiting. The body is no longer an obstacle to enlightenment. It becomes the gateway. Chapter 7. Portals into the Unmanifested. Beyond the inner body lies an even deeper dimension, the unmanifested, the formless, eternal source from which all life arises. This chapter reveals simple, powerful portals that allow you to enter that realm consciously while still alive. The first and most direct portal is going more deeply into the inner body. Once you can feel the subtle energy field throughout your body, intensify your attention until the aliveness becomes almost overwhelming. At a certain point, the physical sensation dissolves, and only pure presence remains. You have slipped through the doorway into the unmanifested. Another natural portal is dreamless sleep. Every night when you fall into deep, dreamless sleep, your consciousness merges completely with the source. You emerge refreshed because you have rested in being itself. The difference now is that you can enter this state consciously while awake. Silence is a magnificent portal. True silence is not just the absence of noise, it is the space between sounds, between words, between thoughts. When you listen to silence with full attention, the mind becomes still and you touch the formless dimension directly. Many people feel profound peace the first time they consciously enter this space. Space itself is another portal. Look around the room right now and become aware of the empty space between objects. Feel the space in your body, inside your chest, between your fingers. Space is not nothing. It is the silent, alive presence that allows everything to exist. As your awareness of space deepens, the world of form loses its grip, and you realize you are that spaciousness. Tolle also explores the true nature of space and time. Both are illusions created by the mind. In the unmanifested, there is neither. Finally, he introduces conscious death, the ultimate portal. By learning to enter the unmanifested while still alive, you lose all fear of physical death. You know that what you truly are cannot die. These portals are not distant or difficult. They are available in every moment. The moment you step through any one of them, you rest in the source, and from that place, life flows with effortless peace and power. Chapter 8. Enlightened Relationships. True salvation is not found in another person. It is here and now. You do not need a relationship to become whole or fulfilled. Any condition, being single, lonely, or already in a partnership, can serve as the doorway. The only access point is the present moment. Enter the now from exactly where you are. Most romantic relationships quickly turn into love/hate cycles. They begin with intense, in-love feelings that make you feel complete, but soon the ego's needs surface. What seemed like love reveals itself as addictive clinging and mutual ego fulfillment. One moment there is tenderness, the next savage attack, jealousy, blame, or emotional withdrawal. These polarities feed each other. The positive already contains the negative. The relationship oscillates between pleasure and pain until it collapses or settles into quiet dysfunction. This happens because every human carries a deep sense of lack. On the physical level, we are half of a whole, male or female. On the psychological level, the ego feels incomplete and seeks completion through the other person. Sexual union offers a fleeting glimpse of oneness, but it is never lasting. The partner becomes a drug. When the high fades, the old pain returns stronger, and the other person is blamed for it. The shift from addictive to enlightened relationship is simple yet radical. Stay present. Intensify your presence until it is stronger than the thinker or the pain body. Stop judging yourself and your partner. Complete acceptance of the other as they are instantly takes you beyond ego. Love is no longer something you get or give. It is a state of being that arises from within. You feel the same formless life in yourself and in the other. This is the realization of oneness. Relationships then become a powerful spiritual practice. Every time unconsciousness arises, anger, jealousy, the need to be right, use it as a signal. Hold the knowing of your inner state without reacting. Give your partner space to express themselves. This creates a clear field of presence where old patterns cannot survive. The relationship stops being a source of pain and becomes a portal into consciousness. Women are naturally closer to enlightenment because they live more in the body and are therefore closer to being. Men tend to be more identified with the mind, yet both must deal with the pain body. Women carry an additional collective female pain body, the accumulated pain of centuries of subjugation, exploitation, and suppression. This often awakens strongly during menstruation, That very time can become a sacred portal. When the first signs appear, be intensely present. Feel the energy without letting it take over your thinking or behavior. Watch it with full acceptance. The pain body then transmutes into pure consciousness. Menstruation shifts from a time of unconsciousness to a time of awakening. When both partners are present, or even when one holds the space consistently, the relationship becomes a vortex of high-frequency consciousness. No illusion or negativity can survive in it. It draws others into the light and fulfills its true divine purpose. The final step is to give up the relationship with yourself, the last attachment to ego. What remains is love that has no opposite. Chapter 9. Beyond happiness and unhappiness, there is peace. True peace does not come from getting what you want or escaping what you don't want. It lies entirely beyond the seesaw of happiness and unhappiness. Eckhart Tolle shows that both positive and negative states are part of the same egoic polarity. Happiness always contains its opposite in seed form. When it fades, unhappiness returns. The mind labels experiences as good or bad, but this labeling is what keeps you trapped in the cycle. There is a higher good that is not dependent on conditions, the peace that arises when you step out of the mind's game altogether. Your life drama is the story the ego tells about itself, its victories, defeats, wounds, and triumphs. Most people are addicted to this story because it gives them a sense of identity. Tolle reveals how to end the drama instantly. Stop feeding it with thought. The moment you refuse to dramatize your life situation, the heavy emotional weight drops away. What remains is simple presence, and in that presence there is no drama, only life unfolding. Everything in the world of form is impermanent. Relationships, possessions, health, and achievements all rise and fall in cycles. Resistance to this truth creates suffering. Acceptance brings freedom. When you fully embrace impermanence, you no longer cling or fear loss. You move through life like the seasons, flowing, changing, yet always rooted in the unchanging now. Negativity is not something to fight or suppress. It is a signal. The moment you feel it arising, use it as a reminder to become intensely present. Feel the energy in your body without turning it into a story or an identity. Then consciously relinquish it. Let it go the way you would drop a hot coal. Each time you do this, you weaken the old patterns and strengthen the field of peace within you. From this place, genuine compassion arises naturally. You see the pain body in others without judgment, because you have recognized it in yourself. Compassion is not pity. It is the recognition of shared being. It flows effortlessly and transforms every interaction. This is the beginning of a different order of reality. You no longer live in the world of opposites. You live in the timeless dimension where peace is not the opposite of anything, it simply is. And from that peace, all right action, creativity, and love emerge without effort. Chapter 10. The meaning of surrender. Surrender is not weakness or giving up. It is the most powerful act a human being can ever perform. The complete, unconditional acceptance of the present moment exactly as it is. This is not a passive state. It is an active alignment with life itself. When you surrender, you stop arguing with what is. You stop the inner no that creates all suffering. The moment resistance ends, a new energy flows through you. Tolle calls this the shift from mind energy to spiritual energy. Mental struggle turns into quiet power. You still act, but now your actions arise from a deeper intelligence instead of fear or anger. In personal relationships, surrender transforms everything. You accept the other person completely in this moment. No demands, no mental judgments. The need to be right dissolves. What remains is space for love to appear that has no opposite. Even illness can become a gateway to enlightenment. When you surrender to pain or disease instead of fighting it, the condition loses its power to define you. Many people discover that their greatest suffering became their greatest awakening because they finally said yes to what is. When disaster strikes, loss, accident, sudden change, surrender is the only sane response. ends. Fighting reality only adds a second layer of pain. Complete acceptance allows grace to enter. Life may still be difficult on the surface, but inside there is peace that cannot be touched. Tolle calls this the way of the cross. It is the ancient path of yielding to suffering rather than resisting it. Jesus, the Buddha, and every true spiritual master walked it. Through surrender, suffering is transmuted into peace. At the very heart of this teaching is a simple truth. You always have the power to choose. In any moment, no matter how painful, you can choose surrender over resistance. That single choice is the difference between hell and peace, between bondage and freedom. Surrender is the final key. It is the end of the journey because it reveals that you never needed to go anywhere. The power of now is complete. You are already home.